just open it up there in the 7th.
Yeah, that was offensive approach was spotty a little bit. If I'm being critical, we swung at too many breaking balls early in the count and got ourselves out with weak contact. But Dean obviously got us on the board there in the first with his homer. We were able to piece a run together there in the fourth, and obviously the 7th was the big blow. But up until then, it was in balance, I guess, for lack of a better term. We just were having decent at bats at times, but we just weren't stringing much together until the 7th. But able to score enough runs there to get a little bit of breathing room.
Was there a conversation at all in there about the situation? I think you won for your first 9 with runners on base. Was there a conversation at all, or is that just kind of one of those nights?
A little bit of both. I mean, we talked about it pregame. We knew this kid had a really good breaking ball and was going to try to pitch with that and keep us off balance. And I just think we got over anxious up there at times and trying to do too much. But end of the day, we did enough to get it done, and we'll continue to improve on where we need to improve upon. We're not a finished product by any means, but these are the learning things. It's much easier to learn after a win than it is a loss. So we'll address some of these things tomorrow and continue to try to get better.
Carlo found himself with runners in scoring position twice, the second and third 2 innings. Escaped both without giving up a run. What did you see from him tonight that you enjoyed?
They had a good approach, against him, and he walked a couple guys, that put himself in some situations there, but was able to lock in and make some big pitches when he had to keep zeros on the board. But he did a good job, obviously limiting the damage and then pitching his way out of some things, and was able to throw a variety of pitches in there for strikes today. So it wasn't just fastball slider. He was able to dump a curveball in there, and had a strikeout or 2 on a changeup as well. So if he's starting to get 4 pitches working, it's going to be obviously beneficial for him and us moving forward.
He talked in his last start about getting him to throw maybe a few more pitches this time around, and he got up to 83. His last 2 pitches were 97, 96. Just in particular, what do you think about his length and kind of how he finished the start?
The fact that he's holding velocity, in there in the 6th inning, as we're getting up and past 80 pitches, it's big. It's big, and we'll look for him to keep doing that. He's going to have to continue to locate his fastball and pitch off of that, as we move forward. And why wouldn't you? You're throwing 90, 95, 97 miles an hour, and with that breaking ball, that's what sets the breaking ball up, is that he has the good velo behind it.
What did you think about Overbay piggybacking again tonight, second week in a row?
Great job, outstanding job. We were able to again put a big 5 spot there in the 7th. Keeps him available again this weekend if we need him, as well as not that we're looking ahead of our next 2 games, but it keeps him in play for the 2 midweek games as well next week.
You got another look at Musso after the Omaha situation of sorts last week. Do you think you did better this time around?
He did great. He threw the ball great last time against Omaha. We just kicked it around behind him a little bit, which was disturbing. When you have a freshman in there trying to get his feet wet, and we drop a pop-up and those things that we just can't do. But, ball is coming out better tonight. Just continue trying to give him some landings where he can have some success, and he's going to be good for us moving forward. And he's got a bright future on the mound. So, again, we're going to continue to look for opportunities for him to get him in games.
You talked before the season about losing Kyle Walker and his speed on the base path. 1 for 3 on stolen base tonight. Seemed a little bit aggressive. What was your message to the team when it comes to running? Was there a specific strategy tonight to try to steal bases?
I'll take the blame for the pickoff there at first. Off the lefty, we were just trying to gamble and go first move, and they outsmarted me on that one. So that's on me. The other one, I think Landon got thrown out at third there. Just pitcher did a good job stopping his momentum, and if that happens, we can't go. We talked about that, and we addressed that already. So just one of those mistakes that we made, and we'll address it and get better from it.
Is there any guys on the team that you specifically think could not necessarily replace Kyle Walker, but could be the guy who's most dangerous on the base path for you?
Potentially, but I don't want to share that because I don't want to let everybody know who to look for. We have a variety of guys that I think can steal bases. We just, I've said it before, we lose Kean Vu and Kyle Walker. Those two kids could, at times just outrun, any mistakes that they might have or poor jumps that they might have. They just had that breakaway speed that they could, steal bases at any point in time. We just have to be more calculated in when we're going to do it with this group. Not saying we don't have team speed, we do, but we just got to be smarter about when we go.
What do you make of this hot streak? I'll take it. What do you make of this hot streak that Landon's on right now? It feels like every time he gets up, he's just getting on base. Doesn't matter what he's doing at the plate.
Hitters hit. I honestly don't think he's fully locked in yet, to be honest. He's getting hits. His 2 base hits today were kind of backside and hit one off the cap, there to left field. But yeah, I mean, he gives himself opportunities to get those type of hits because the bat head's in the zone so long. And good hitters do that. They aren't in and out of the zone quick. They just has a knack for being able to put barrel to ball, and when you do that, you find holes a lot. So, yeah, he's getting his hits, but I know there's more in there too.
What does fully locked in Landon Hairston look like?
You'll see.
You witnessed firsthand last year how some early season non-conference games, Oral Roberts, Minnesota series, kind of tripped the team up and led to some maybe lower seed later on that you might have wanted. How important is it for you guys to, at least so far, be kind of knocking these non-conference opponents aside?
That's looking at our schedule, and when we put this schedule together, it's not a perfect science. You're chasing the wrong thing. You're chasing RPI. You're trying to figure out who's going to be good and have our good RPI, and try to have a good strength of schedule along with making sure we win games. And none of that, you just can't guess right, because with the transfer portal and guys leaving and coming and going and having to get your schedule in advance a year or two, you just don't really ever know who's going to be ultimately good. I do know the couple teams that we beat the other team in our state down south the last 2 nights and last week. So obviously they're decent teams if they're going down to Tucson and beating that team as well. So end of the day, we just got to do our job and keep refining who we are and keep improving on the areas that we got to get better at. And again, it's not a perfect science, but we know that our schedule ultimately is going to be a very tough one when we look back upon it at the end of this year. That it's going to be a very good strength of schedule.
Your 3, 4, and 5 hitters all had a home run day. What does that say about your heart of the order?
That they can hit home runs. I think good swings ultimately result in home runs at times, and when you have those 3 that top to bottom, anybody in that lineup can put the ball in the seats. So that's what's kind of cool about it. But we're not one-dimensional like we have been in the past. I think there's plenty of different ways we can beat you. Running game, small ball if we have to. I feel much better as a complete offense this year than I have in the past, where we're not just living and dying on the long ball. Even though we did a little bit of that tonight, most of our runs were scored via long ball. But I do feel confident that this team is more dynamic than we've had in the past.
This decision at first base between Garrett and Dowswell, they're making this as difficult as possible for you. How good is it to see them both playing at the top of their game and almost interchangeable now in the lineup?
They're both playing great, and there's other guys that, we're facing a left-hander tomorrow. We're going to mix some other guys in there tomorrow too. And so this has been part of that recipe and plan going into our season, that we have an abundance of players that are good players. Matt Polk, Beckett Zavorik, Sam Myers, Cohen Nikolai. These guys are starters, man, and it's just we have 14 starters, so you can only pencil 9 of them in at a time. But I have to try to do my best to keep these guys in the lineup, interchangeable, keep them sharp, keep them fresh, try to get, Contradas off his feet when I can, try to get Hairston off his feet when I can, and keep these other guys in there and keep them sharp, because we're going to need more than just 9 guys as we move forward in this thing. And again, those guys are very capable of being starting players in most places, most programs. So I have my work cut out for me to keep everybody. I'm not going to keep everybody happy. I've already said that, but just to keep these guys mixed in the lineup and staying sharp.
Kind of what is with the second grand slam today? Like, what's that feeling like in the dugout? I know we're gonna try to set up the play with bases loaded. Like as a manager, what goes through your mind in that situation?
You know, for us at that point in time, I was hoping something to the outfield. You know, obviously a base hit would be great. Trying to score 2. When that came off as bad, I kind of got a sigh of relief that we had a little breathing room right there, knowing we were getting a grand slam right there. Just I knew that was probably going to get out of there, and we were going to, obviously put up 4 there and stretch the lead. So just being able to do that allows us to, set up the bullpen a little bit differently than if it's a very close game there going into the later innings. And the fact that we didn't need to use Schaaf today, we were able to cut Ovi's outing a little bit short again to prepare him either for another outing this weekend, or if we need him midweek, we can do that. So that was big, that new hit, not only to give us the lead tonight, but also to set up things moving forward as well.
On that same point, how important is he being a veteran presence on a team with so many new faces, one of the captains? Like, how important is he to the future of this team to potentially make that postseason like y'all aspire to do? He's been awesome. I can't ask for anything more. He's the right kid, right mentality. Obviously, very dynamic player. He's got pop in his back and hit for power, hit for average, run, making some spectacular plays at second base. That's the type of player he is. We're obviously excited to have him. He's off to a good start, but again, he's not going to get complacent. He's going to keep playing and leading these guys as we keep moving forward.
6 walks, 2 strikeouts. Seems like it's a very aggressive team, which I know was kind of a problem in the past with some of the other teams that you guys were kind of waiting. But you got on base a lot, you hit the ball well. How do you feel about the plate approach right now?
It's still that there's room to get better, and happy, not satisfied. We have to keep grinding on these guys, and once you think you got it figured out one day, you look awful the next day. So it's just continuing to remind them of what we are and what our approach is, what we stand for. Trying to make sure we don't chase breaking balls below the zone. One thing today, again, the breaking balls weren't really below the zone that we were chasing, more so that we were making weak contact early in the count, right? And that's something that we have to. There's no need to swing at that first pitch unless you're sitting on it, and if you are, then you better be able to square it up if you're going to swing at it, not hit a tapper back to the mound and be 0 for 1 instead of 0 and 1. So those are things that we just, again, got to continue to refine. With a lot of new guys and learning our approach, might take a little bit of time for them to actually get it, but there's definitely signs that they're starting to understand it, and if we can put this thing into play and be good at it, then it's going to be an awful fun lineup.
Kind of bouncing off the non-conference question, the last 2 years, the pitching has kind of stumbled out of the gate while the offense has been really good. This year, you've been able to put together complete games. Has it relieved you a little bit that you haven't had to worry about the pitching out of the gate so far?
I would never say I'm relieved on anything. I'm always worried about where we can get better, and it's nice that we've had some success early on both sides of the ball. And pitching, hitting, defense, base running, we've got out of the gates well, but I look at it from a different lens, right? A lot of people look at just the numbers, say, oh, we're doing great. I look at it from a lens of we have to get better. If we want to do what we want to do, there are things where we got to definitely get better and be able to do, focus on the process of how we can get better on this thing. Because when we face, if we want to get to where we want to get to, we're going to have to definitely get better.
You talked earlier about not being able to keep everyone happy necessarily, but how do you manage the players as young kids and not necessarily their egos, but their aspirations for their futures?
Bottom line, it's we over me. You're coming to Arizona State, right? And a lot of, especially the young guys that are itching to get in there, and You know, I met with our freshmen yesterday and just reminded them, we love you. You're part of this program. You're a big part of this thing. Future's bright. 3 years ago, you guys are all probably starting, but we are evolving as a program, and we're getting better, and we're getting deeper, we're getting older. Those are things that we need to do if we want to be the program we want to be. But they're the wave that's not only right on the heels of our upperclassmen guys and our quote unquote starters, but they're the next wave of this thing. So just trying to keep them engaged on it and not to get their dauber down, and you know, make sure we don't have to change diapers and all that stuff with them. But they're very good players. I mean, you haven't seen, you know, Ryan Dara, you haven't seen Tommy Brown yet, you haven't seen Jackson Durst. These kids can play, man, and whether or not they get an opportunity, you know, we'll see. But they're right there, and these younger kids are really, really good. You know, but we have to. The older guys are going to get the first crack. Bottom line, and that they have to understand that coming to a Power 4 program like ASU, that happens across the country. And look at any successful program. The younger guys, unless you're just an absolute superstar coming out of high school, you're going to have to wait your turn and learn. But these guys are very, I will say, their mentality and their mindset is very strong, very good. Finn Leach, those type of kids are just they're bought in, and they're excited to be here and learning. And this is a big learning year for a lot of these guys. So they'll be the next wave of this thing.
A lot of guys are off to a great start so far this season. How do you feel like the guys in the clubhouse build off each other and make each other better on a daily basis?
Well, I think first and foremost they have to, or they know they're not going to be in there the next day because we got guys waiting and ready to go. But I think the success continues to breed success, if that makes sense. You know, the momentum gets going. These guys are excited. They know it's not going to be the same guy every night. It's going to be a different guy a lot of nights that help us win games. So just that little bit of a feeding frenzy in there on guys wanting to get in there and contribute. And again, my difficult part of this job is to make sure I, you know, try to put the right mix out there every day and you know, keep guys going that are going to be, you know, helpful and useful as we move forward. And but right now it seems to be going just fine in there.
PJ made a couple of big plays defensively. One in the second inning to help Cole get out of it, was part of a couple double plays. What did you make of his defensive performance tonight? It's
been great. You know, from when we got him this fall, he had some work to do. And we've to his credit, the kid just nonstop. The work ethic is off the charts. Understanding how to play defense, understanding you play with your feet, not your hands. Really bought into it, and it is come a long way in the last 3 or 4 months. Again, he was clanking a lot of balls early. I'm like, oh boy, we got some work to do here. But the facts are he bought in, continues to work at it, and man, the kid's making some phenomenal plays right now. So extremely excited about his defense.
What are your thoughts on the student section tonight?
Awesome, man. I heard them over there ragging the third baseman, and to the students that came out, man, awesome. Thank you. It's been fun. We're starting to get people realizing that, man, these ASU baseball games are fun. You know, it's not just all about, you know, I love football. Heck, I'm the biggest football fan on the planet, but it's more than just football. Like, the students are starting to come out and enjoy the ragging on the other team a little bit. They're seated right above their dugout and right above the third baseman for a reason. Man, I love having them out. So please continue coming out. It's a lot of fun to listen to them over there chanting and doing what they do over there. So been awesome. Keep coming.